Hey everybody, this is Lars. Gosh, it's a long time since I've made a video. Um, I'm not feeling calm right now, and I was going to work on that myself. If you know me, I do this work with a lot of different people. Instead, I thought I would put this up, and we can, if you want, we can do this together. And I'm not calm because we're living in some really intense times, and I was doing some things that were really intense. I thought actually about trying to help save some lives for this time that we're living in. And so my mind, uh, it keeps swinging over to that awareness, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. Over these past years, mostly my awareness has been in this space of calm, and out of that I take my actions. And for the last day, it hasn't been that way really for the last couple of days, and I can feel the difference. It's so different than my normal state. I want to share with you something. There's nothing to believe in, just something to do to shift that. And it's been so strong for me, my awareness out in all this action and reaction, that I haven't been in this space. And I know I'll come back to it. It's really my place now. It's a place I live from. Anybody I work with in my sessions, I invite them to come into this awareness of living from this space, and it transforms lives. And it's absolutely simple, nothing to believe, just do this. Get your awareness into the space that has nothing in it. Doesn't mean you can't come back to all the other stuff. But if we only stay in all this other stuff, then we're just in that reactivity. The body's fight, flight, freeze is on. You know that feeling. But most of us don't really have a great, simple method for getting out of that. I want to show that to you now. And then I want to talk about the things that I believe about it. And I don't care if you believe about it. I don't really even care if you do this or not. I just know that if you're not feeling calm and you do want to feel calm, this is something to try. But typically in life, our awareness is on something that we enjoy or something we resist or something, whatever. There's also awareness of space that has nothing in it. So I invite you just to put your hands together. You don't have to believe this, just do it. Put your hands together and now imagine that outside of your hands, all of the stuff, the reactivity, the issues that are going on in your life, they're there. And I give myself a minute to feel that. And it's been about trying to help people have the awareness of the implications of, especially if we're older or compromised, of getting this virus that is now approaching very quickly and is here. And all the interactions I've been having and the actions and all those stuff. Okay? Now, if it's all calm out there, fine, just turn this off. But if it's not, do this. Don't believe it, just do it. Imagine or do this. Pull your hands slowly apart and look at the space that's in between your hands where you can see that there's nothing. You keep your hands there and you do this. You're doing one of, I believe, and you don't have to believe this, but one of the most important things in life you can do, which is to choose where you're putting your awareness. And for the last couple of days, unaccustomedly for me, mine has been out here. For most people that I know, it's almost always out here. And it's very difficult to imagine having our awareness be something other than our reactions to things, to some things. Nothing right there. Yep. Got your hands there? Pulling them apart? I got things to say to you after we do this. But for now, just notice this space. I'm doing it myself because I told you my attention was out here. And now it's coming back in here. In the moment that you become a reaction to the space or to nothing, over 1,000 different chemical reactions just happened inside of you in the transition from some state of fight, flight, freeze to this state of calm. You don't have to believe it. Just do this. So I want to thank you because I know when I work with other people, they always say, so much easier when you help me. But it's easier when you help me. Like in this time where we're isolating more and more, it's like you're right here with me. Just before I started this video, got this text from a friend, Deb, right? You're right there. Last night, got a video from someone, not a video, but a message. Someone I haven't heard from for 10 years. Thought of this person a lot over the years. So good to hear from him. Had a lot more red in my beard back then. Just let your awareness be here. Notice you're not even trying to do anything. If it slips out, which is like really very likely, bring it back. When I work with people, it's often very unfamiliar to see this space. Usually by half an hour into the session, people are just going like that and it's back. Why? Because we're starting to become familiar and starting to enjoy and eventually starting to trust that this is an okay place to live from. You can take this, just again, you don't have to do this. You don't have to believe this either, but right? It's about the pictures we have. It's where we put our awareness. Take this space and just put it in a place in you where you want it. Your heart, your stomach, your head. Nothing magic about that or anything. The only thing there is to do, and you don't even have to believe it, is just take your awareness. Notice how it's, normally just scattered all over the place in reaction, high levels, low levels, trying to find this, that, the other thing, whatever it is. Maybe you're not that way, just everybody I know is. And put it in a space that has nothing in it. There's a gazillion different ways to do this. It doesn't matter if you do this. You could do this. You could see the space between yourself and the screen. Just notice the space, right? Like we look at the screen. We look at what's going on there. I'm looking at myself. Oh, my eyes are supposed to be up in the camera, blah, 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 right? Stop. Notice the space between the screen and yourself. And once your awareness goes there, these 1,000 different chemical reactions happen inside you, and you operate again from the space of non-reactivity. And from there, notice that you can still engage the world. You can still listen to me. We can operate from this place of calm. And when the exceptions arise, which for a lot of us is 99% of the time, we just come back and carry on. Which was for me the last couple of days, My attention was outside of this place. Nothing wrong with that. But this place of calm is now so familiar to me that I was very aware of my, agitation, just reactivity, my attention just grabbed by this stuff and not being in this space of peace and calm. And so I'm making this video, yes, to share, because I think it's so potentially valuable for us in this time, but I'm making it for me too. And I can feel there's a physical feeling when your awareness has come back to this place. It's different for different people. One time I worked with this woman, and it was the easiest one ever because she would come into the office this way. I'd say, and we were using a different way. And so we'll do that now. Just find a point somewhere in your room or your house or wherever you are, and look at that point. I'm right now looking at the top of and this is for a reason, holding my shoulders up, because that's how this woman always came in. And I'm looking at the top of a light fixture right now. And that's one of the most important things you can do in your life. Take your attention and put it where you choose, instead of just having it be the reaction to everything that's going on around you. So she comes in, look at that. And I would point her over to the corner of a window and I say, look at the window framing right there, the top right corner of it. She would look at it. And each time she was doing this, like the light over there, window frame up there, they were a lot simpler than the rest of her life. And so she became a reaction to the light bulb. She became, because she put her awareness there, a reaction to the window frame. Simpler, the body's reactivity lessening. I said, okay, are you ready? Then look at the space that's between those 2 points. Now, there's a wall behind them with other stuff, but you can imagine a space that has nothing in it. Look at that. Maybe you're doing this with me. Look at that space. And then her shoulders dropped. This physical change for her. I said, you're calm now, aren't you? She would smile and say yes, and on we'd go. For me, just doing this with you now in these minutes, there's this relaxing feeling that's going on in my body. For some people, their stomach muscles loosen up, their heart loosens up, joints stop aching, headache goes away, feeling of sleepiness comes. They're different for different people. But it's generally noticeable. And it's actually completely possible to live out of this space. Start here and then act. I started here and then I acted these last couple of days to try to stop the meeting of people in this increasing percentage that we're going to catch a virus that's lethal to 1 out of 7 people who are over 70 years old. And I got so engaged in that my attention went out of this space and it was out here. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it's a great stress on our body. We're less effective, actually, in living and operating and doing. And a lot of us want calm. We want to operate out of this space. All right, so that's the first thing. Now I'm going to tell you something else. You don't have to believe it. It's what I believe. And actually, the action of it makes a difference. Okay? So there's this space out here that has everything in it in our lives that we're reacting to, all the way back to childhood and all the way out to, well, when we're no longer living. This space of reactivity. And when we're a reaction to that, we're a reaction to that. When we're a reaction to this, to the space with nothing in it, then we are a reaction to this. Now, there's something that the shamans did in ancient times, and there's something that the neurobiologists discovered in the year 2000. The neurobiologists called it memory reconsolidation. The shamans called it, come sit by the fire with me. I'd love to get this to you in a way that you could live from this space. And I'm going to explain the shaman story in a minute, but first I want to give you the image of a pendulum, okay? Going back and forth. In our lives, we come into life and we're over here in the scene of life and reactivity, and everything that happens or all the consequential things, they store inside us, yes? The memories, the emotions, the reactivities, and if we get triggered by them, we feel them, yes? One side, we tend to just get stuck over here. When you did this exercise, you brought your awareness over to this side, the side that has nothing in it. And if you listen to the masters of the ages, they'll say, yes, there's nothing here, but there's also everything here. Those koans, those things that don't really make sense in the nothing and everything. The source of all things, the God space, the quantum, whatever you want to call it, right? Over here, we struggle to put language on it. No, it's never sufficient, but that is the experience of the pendulum coming over here. Enough said, because if we say more, then it's like, oh, something I got to believe. No, it's here. If you can swing the pendulum back and forth, don't stay over here. When you're here, go back to the last thing that was an upset. Memory reconsolidation, the discovery of the year 2000, Kareem Nader, that discovery says if you do that, you actually bring calm, you reconsolidate, you store that old memory in the new way, because this is an interruption to the storage. And you will be building a cumulative, literal peace in your mind, a literal non-reactivity if you will swing the pendulum. And when you come over here, once you've done that, the next time you notice that you're over here in reactivity, swing the pendulum back. Grab this calm, or let it grab you. Change your physical state. Bring this back to the thing that wasn't calm. Memory reconsolidation happens. Come back here, start to live your life. Next time something happens that draws you over here, notice what it is. Come back here. Bring this gift of source, of calm, of peace, back to the upset. Come back here. Don't try to stay here. Just be here. And when you're not here anymore, let your attention be on what took it away. Once you find that, bring your attention over here, the pendulum. Do that, and you will live with a cumulative increasing amount of peace and calm in your life. The shaman story. Same exact thing. On the level of how the brain works, which apparently, this is how human life works. And when we're not in the awareness of it, we're just stuck here, maybe trying to get over here. The shaman, when someone was really upset in the village, would say, come, let's go sit by the fire. And at night, They would go out, they would make a little fire just for the two of them. And the shaman would say, on this side of the pendulum, tell me your story. And out came the story with all the upset, all the reactivity, all of whatever it was that was bothering that person. Okay, so I called it the ice method long ago when I kind of put this together, different images all the time. This is the part where you're identifying. And the shaman would just say, tell me your story. Then the shaman would say, I want you now just to look in the fire for a while. And I'm going to leave and I'll come back. We were just doing this, right? In the story of the shaman. Left the person there who was upset to simply look in the fire, this place of calm. Now, the discovery of memory reconsolidation was when you go over here and you tell the upset, you literally activate the synapse and neurons of your being. And then they stay that way for 4 to 6 hours, during which you can bring something else in so that they literally will store different. Okay? Now, we were just using this and a pendulum image. The shaman used the fire, the attention of just looking at a fire burning gently in the night. And after a while, the shaman would come back. And the shaman would say, sit down and say, tell me your story. And when that person told the story, they brought the emotional, spiritual state of calm, of looking at that fire, of peace. And when they told their story again, in the 2,000 words of the year 2000 words of neurobiology, they reconsolidated that memory. It's stored differently on the synaptic neurobiological level of their brain. And you don't have to know any of that. You don't have to believe any of that. You don't have to believe the shaman. Just do it. And notice, like the person who was upset, that the upset was transformed to calm. Calm filled in what had been activated, replaced. And so the person could go back and tell that story later without upset. All right, I guess that's enough of me telling this. And I'm seeing that the volume is very low on this recording, and first time I've done it, I don't even know if it's going to work. I wanted to share that with you because that's what I have to share with you. But then kind of in this time, I've been self-isolating for a couple of weeks. My mom hasn't been out of the house. Well, she has a great yard. She's out in that all the time. For a couple of weeks, we go have coffee in the backyard when it's not snowing, like it just snowed the other day. Another friend, been self-isolating for a month, go by every day and visit. This time that is so, well, once in a lifetime, once in 100 years, not since 1918, that time of the Spanish influenza. I imagine a lot more of us are going to be communicating this way for the next months. Here in Washington, sort of at ground zero of the United States, having this virus come and now spreading quickly through this country, through this world. Like I told you, I just heard from this friend before making this, talked to my brother and my dad yesterday, saw my mom, a friend from 10 years ago. You know, this is going to get to some of you to whom I'm very close. It's going to get to you, some of you that I've never met before, maybe a couple people. Be cool if we could all do this. Imagine coming from this space in the encounter with the unimaginable changes that are coming very rapidly into our lives. And from this space, to say how much I love you, how much I appreciate you, how much I care for you. When I know you personally, yes, but for being an adventurer on this life, now in the middle of an adventure that I imagine very few of us imagined would ever come our way. Certainly wasn't me that imagined this. And we're going to bring whatever it is we have to bring. These last 2 days, a few people have said to me, I have to unsubscribe from your newsletter. There's just too much panic in it. You're the calm guy. You're not the panic guy. One of the things I've always said about calm and about the ICE method is, if you're not in a state of immediate physical danger, you can operate from calm for the rest of your life. And over the last couple of days, I really felt like there was a bus coming at us. This virus that has an incredible mortality rate for older people, for people with compromised health, and I know lots and lots of both of those. And in places where people were going to gather on Sunday, today actually, I was like, oh, this virus which just aerosolizes and moves around like perfume on the air. Give that to 7 people if you unknowingly have it, and the chances are that one of them will die. Now, this is what I believe, and you don't have to believe it. You and I, in all life, we come from a place that is a place that holds all things. The idea that we come out of like random nothingness, have it if you want. It's hard to make. Hang out in this space, nothing to believe. I used to be a pastor, and then I quit being a pastor, and I was never going to really go back down that route. I found out about this healing method, completely grabbed me, created some stuff in it that put together to share with people. And I just kept looking in this space. I wasn't looking for the spirit of life. I was just looking to heal emotional upsets or physical upsets, and it's amazing for that. Living from this space, completely different chemistry goes on inside of you, and just the natural result is calm, peace, better physical condition, better emotional states. I just kept looking. And what rose up in there into my awareness, at least, was that in this space with nothing, because there was nothing distracting it anymore, what I had was the sense of everything. Nothing and infinity held together. I used to use the language of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. I've read in the languages of the Buddha, or not in the languages, but in the stories of the Buddha. A little bit the stories from India. A little bit the stories from the Middle East in Islam. A little bit more in the stories of Judaism. Of what's happening. Just try looking at the space. And in the absence of our attention being drawn to anything particular, which is a gift. When that stops, then we can be aware of everything. And it's kind of a boring place because there's nothing distinct here. The real miracle is that there's a you with an awareness. Again, a belief. I don't care if you believe it or not. But the real miracle is that there's a you who has an awareness, who somehow has the freedom to put it where you want. That mouse, computer mouse right there. And in my experience with myself and with people, it's fine to do that as long as that's interesting to us. And at some point, there comes this interest, this curiosity, this compunction to start exploring beyond the places that I put my individual awareness towards that which holds it all together. And the irony is that we never find it by putting our awareness on anything, any system, any belief, any knowledge, any science, any discovery, any commitment. In the space between 2 points, between the screen and yourself, between your hands. Just keep coming back here, because once you take your attention off of everything, then you can be aware of everything. So nice to share this with you. See if it even works. Drop me a note. If you go over to icemethod.com, you can send me a note, or manyspokes.com, which is a slightly out-of-date chicken farming website. We can be in touch during this time. All right. Blessings and peace. Calm wishes. Bye-bye.